This is Southern Cross News with Rachel Williams.
Good evening. It's been described as one of the most controversial performances to occur in Australia in 3 decades. The blood-drenched spiritual sacrifice by Herman Nitsch has been staged by Dark Mofo today as spectators were greeted by protesters. And a warning, viewers may find some of the following images distressing.
A secret location, not so secret. Spectators lining Evans Street early for the controversial 150 action performance by Austrian artist Herman Nitsch.
It's confronting, it's brutal, it's not your average art. I mean, this wouldn't be Dark Mofo if it wasn't for, you wouldn't go see Van Gogh here, so.
All of the Dark Mofo events so far have had a lot of merit and provided moments of introspection, and I expect the same from this one.
Some intrigued by the hype surrounding the bloody sacrifice of a bull, its entrails to be used as props for performers.
Morbid curiosity, I guess. Don't want to judge until I see it. Anxious, but interested.
But animal rights protesters were out to challenge the morality of using animals for art. Protesters holding mirrors to ticket holders.
They think it's funny.
Can't be shocked by this.
They don't understand empathy. They don't understand love of animals. And I think it's quite shocking to see there are so many people who really clearly don't have a good love for animals.
We're also here to represent the 120,000 people from Tasmania, Australia and globally who signed various petitions against this action.
A strong police presence ensuring the event ran smoothly. Media were refused entry to the performance. Spectators also urged not to record. Some left the 3-hour event early, confronted by the guts and gore.
5 or 6 people all just started ripping out
everything out of it, and then
it was
put it back
really
in.
full on.
Seeing people covered in the cow,
and throwing it everywhere, ripping apart a bull. It was heartbreaking and amazing, and in the end, I felt relieved, which is good.
Tim Douglas of the Australian Review impressed by the intensity.
I don't think there's anything that's been seen like this before in Australia. It is quite controversial. I'm not sure anywhere other than Tasmania or Dark Mofo would show it, in fact.
A brutal display to question the consumption of meat, no doubt putting Tasmania on the international stage.
And our reporter Jacqueline Robson joins us now from the Winter Feast. Good evening, Jacqueline. How have festival goers responded to today's events?
Well, Rachel, we've had animal protesters down here at Winter Feast late this evening asking people not to consume meat. Now, interestingly, both Nitsch and animal protesters are challenging punters with the brutal reality of consuming meat, both doing that in very different ways. Now, this is the last weekend of Dark Mofo Festival, so those who want to get down here best do it quick, set to be Australia's most controversial festival.
I can understand why. Thank you for that, Jacqueline. Jacqueline Robson there at Dark Mofo. Treasurer Peter Godwin has apologised for making light of mental illness in Parliament. During Thursday's question time, he criticised Shadow Treasurer Scott Bacon.
After bringing down that alternative budget, I was starting to wonder whether you had some form of post-traumatic stress disorder, to be frank. Look, if anybody's taken offence, absolutely. I shouldn't have said it. It was said in the heat of the moment, and I apologise for it.
Labor says the comment was disrespectful to people affected by PTSD. A crash caused traffic chaos at lunchtime in parts of Hobart today. A 4-car pile-up blocked one lane of the Brooker Highway near the Domain turnoff. Traffic heading into the city backed up as the scene was cleared, causing congestion on connecting roads. Police say no injuries were reported. It will be a nervous few weeks for the North Melbourne Football Club as it waits to find out whether or not it will be granted an AFLW licence. If so, it could mean big things for the state, with the club committing to having half its team from Tasmania.
With the club granted a provisional licence in 2016, AFL Tasmania has been keeping a very close eye on North Melbourne's bid to join the AFLW.
So we've been strongly advocating for some home games and training, and also the playing list, including Tasmanian girls.
And it hasn't fallen on deaf ears, with North Melbourne committing to a target of having half of the playing list from Tasmania.
Oh, it was so positive to hear North Melbourne come out yesterday and really talk so positively about Tasmania and saying it is a joint venture between Tasmania and North Melbourne and a genuine partnership.
For footballers like 17-year-old Burnie defender Lauren Stevenson, who was one of 10 Tasmanians to play for North Melbourne in a trial match earlier in the year, it could mean the opportunity of a lifetime.
It's an amazing opportunity. It creates a pathway for the girls in Tasmania to not have to travel interstate, and just it'll raise the participation rates in Tasmania of female football, and everyone will just aspire to aim to reach that goal, to play AFL.
4 Tasmanians were picked up in the inaugural AFLW draft, and like many aspiring young footballers around the state, watching them realise their dream was an inspiration for Stevenson.
I had one of my good friends, Lise Gamble, and I was just so proud that she got drafted, and Brittany Gibson and Emma Humphries, they're such talented footballers and they totally deserved it.
Only 2 of 4 AFL clubs are expected to receive licences. North Melbourne will find out in the coming weeks if it is one of them. Michael Breen, Southern Cross News.
Tasmanians have thrown their support behind efforts to rid the world of nuclear weapons. The Women's International League for Peace and Freedom rallied on Parliament lawns to show their backing for a ban.
People think that threat has gone away, and certainly we've never lived in more peaceful times, which is really important to keep in mind. But we know these weapons can spread.
A UN treaty prohibiting nuclear weapons is under discussion, but is unlikely to get the support of major military powers.
In the TSL, Launceston has caused more misery for Burnie, the visitors dishing out a 119-point defeat at West Park. In other games, Glenorchy had no trouble against Devonport. North Launceston remains on top of the ladder after beating Hobart City Demons, and Clarence 10-goal winners over the Tigers. Clarence was out to establish itself as a genuine flag contender. The early signs were good. Michael Blackburn slot in the first within a minute, but the Tigers were not intimidated. Cooper Sawdy returning the favour before sloppy defending gifted the home side another shot at the big sticks. But Clarence is no easy beat and showed it again today. The Roos racing to a 5-goal lead by the main break before piling on 8 goals to 3 in the second half, extending the final margin to 61 points. Fresh legs showed for Hobart City Demons early on, the home side enjoying an early lead against their much more fancied rival. But, as expected, a talent-stacked North Launceston bit back. Bart McCulloch leading the way with 3 goals. Callum Kilpatrick returned fire with 4 of his own. But the onslaught was on North Launceston's terms, 66 points the difference. Mitch Thorpe was once again the main source of resistance for Devonport, but there was no stopping Glenorchy. Even away from home, they scored 5 goals to 1 in the first term. Although the scoreboard was one-sided, the knocks out on ground were evenly distributed, multiple misdemeanours sparking reaction. But Glenorchy had the last laugh, 37-point winners. Devonport has booted its way to the top of the NPL ladder following a 2-1 win over fellow heavyweights Olympia. Braden Mann showed class and composure to draw first blood for the home side before Michael Holden made it a 2-goal deficit after the break. The Warriors nabbed one back courtesy of this Jack Callan belter from 35 yards out, but it proved too little too late, with the strikers holding on for the win. Tasmanian children have laced up their runners for a special clinic. Top athletes, including Ben St Loris and Eloise Wellings, hosted exercises and shared tips ahead of tomorrow's Launceston 10.
The Launceston 10's always a good preparation for a longer event, so it should be a good battle for the first Tasmanian between myself and Doug Hammerlock.
Josh Harris says tomorrow's event is part of his preparation for the Athletics World Championships in August.
Good evening. Mostly sunny skies around the state today, apart from isolated showers to the west. Hobart reached a top of 17. It was 15 in Launceston and Devonport, and 16 degrees in Burnie. 18 was the state's high at Grove. It was 17 at Bushy Park and Friendly Beaches, 15 at Low Head, 14 degrees at Strahan, and 10 at Lyowini. The satellite shows an extensive area of middle and high-level cloud over the New South Wales coast, and on the close-up, low-level cloud over the west and south of the state, mostly clear in the east. Tomorrow, a front lies to the east of Tasmania, with a high over South Australia extending a broad ridge over Tasmania and Western Australia. To the coastal waters, west to southwesterly winds reaching 30 knots about the south, seas 1 to 2 metres. A strong wind warning is current for southern and eastern coastal waters from Wineglass Bay to Low Rocky Point. A partly cloudy day in Hobart tomorrow, 13 degrees, the same for Richmond, Ooze 12. Launceston and Devonport both partly cloudy, looking at a top of 14, Deloraine 12. Partly cloudy for Burnie 14, Strawn 12, Curry 14. Partly cloudy and 15 for St Helens and Whitemark, Swansea 13. And looking ahead to Monday now, showers about the west and possibly the north, also fine elsewhere. Showers about the west and north on Tuesday, extending statewide in the afternoon and evening. And more showers on Wednesday, decreasing through the day and clearing in the evening. Now let's take a look around the country tomorrow. A sunny day for Perth, 23, Darwin 30 degrees, mostly sunny, 23 for Brisbane, Sydney 19 with a shower or two and a possible shower, and a top of 15 for Melbourne. And here's a look around the state right now. 15 degrees in Hobart, partly cloudy for those people out at Dark Mofo. Launceston 11 and cloudy. Devonport 14 and cloudy. That's all the weather I've got for tonight. Thanks, Rach.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Britt. Well, that's all your news for now. I'm Rachel Williams. Thanks for your company. Good night.